All right, lads, welcome back to another episode of Who's Got the Ball. Shane, he's back off IR. The two of us are here for this
Yeah,
episode. How are you feeling?
yeah, a bit better now. There's no point asking what I did last weekend because all I did was lie down and watch football on an iPad. That was my whole weekend last weekend. So at least Liverpool managed to do the decent thing and beat Everton. Other than that, it was very quiet. I am back off IR. I don't think I'll be getting starting minutes yet. I just still need to go through the 3v3 and 5v3 contact before I move back onto the starting five. But it is good to be back in the rotation.
Yeah, good to have you back. Michael joins us again for our NBA chat this week. He held it down last week for our NBA chat. I lone wolfed the football if you didn't listen. But we do have some NFL draft stuff that I touched on with Conan earlier this week. So if you saw an extra episode dropping into your feed on Wednesday, that's what that was. A special on the NFL draft and all things first round. So give that a listen if you want your NFL fix for the week. But I want to say that Friday, the day this comes out, that afternoon, I'm flying to London for the London Marathon. I'm going to be running it and I'm doing it to raise money for Children with Cancer UK. So I'm going to just leave the link in the description to donate. If any of you would like to do so, no pressure whatsoever. But if you'd like to do that, the link is going to be there for a very worthwhile cause. So that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. Very much looking forward to that and getting the miles into the legs. By mile, like 16, I'm not going to think that I'll be looking forward to it, but right now I'm looking forward to it. So we'll get into the agenda for the week. Michael joins first, as I said. We do touch on the 5 playoff series that have no game on Thursday night. We're recording this on Thursday evening as usual. So we don't want to go too hard on the games that are on Thursday night because we don't have the most up-to-date info. So the other 5 series, we went deep on those, especially on the Sixers and Celtics and the Rockets Thunder, because we do have some vested interest with our fandom there. And then after that, Gan Seans, we gave an update on the score, myself and Shane. Shane was back to actually give his entries this week, so that was nice. He did blame the injury on why he did badly last week, but we'll leave him do that one. Football. Then after that, we had some performances to look at from last weekend. Liam Rosenior sacking, and then FA Cup semi-final weekend and a big game for Arsenal, all to preview. So plenty there before we wrapped up on the power rankings. So it's a pretty full episode. We know you're going to enjoy it, so let's jump straight into it. Okay, so NBA time. The playoffs have started. We've got some happy faces and some not so happy faces here on the podcast. We'll get into these series and you can figure out why. But Michael is back once again. He'll be back every week for the playoffs, as we've said. So let's get into the first series that we're going to touch on. We're recording this on Thursday. There's 3 games Thursday night, so we won't go too hard on those 3 series because we won't have the most up-to-date info. Let's go on the ones we know everything, and we'll still know everything when this releases Friday, unless some crazy injury news comes out, which could happen if you know the Sixers. But let's start with the
Yeah.
Celtics and Sixers. 1-1 after 2 games. The first game was just domination by the Celtics, with the Sixers having one of the worst shooting performances ever recorded in the playoffs. Based on shot quality, they were in like the bottom 20 like of all time. So it was absolutely horrendous. And then flip that on its head. Game 2, 19 of 39 from 3, and the Sixers take care of business in Boston without Joel Embiid. Maxi silences the crowd late in the fourth, but VJ Edgecombe was hot the whole game. My favorite moment, that Maxi step back right at the end on that poor Celtic that got subbed in. I don't even know the guy's name. First ever playoff minutes. He touched earth, and the commentator is just like, that is just grotesque. And I must have watched it back like 25 times. But yeah, let's throw it to you, Michael, because you're our other Sixers fan here today.
Oh man, what a moment. You see the Sixers have such a bad shooting night the first game, and you just go like, well, it can't just happen again, right? And there were moments me and James were watching it live and we were texting back and forth. And I actually have our chat up right here.
Oh
Some
God.
of some of the quotes out of that chat is legendary. I won't even get into it, but the Sixers, I'm so happy for the win, and yet it just seems like coughing baby versus atomic bomb. Like, it just seems like we got so lucky that the Celtics didn't hit on a ton of open. I feel like Sam Hauser missed like 5 open threes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to inform everybody, if you didn't think Jaylen Brown was that guy, Jaylen Brown is that guy, man. Had a crazy dunk that left me and James stunned in like the second quarter. And then even at the end of the game, every time it felt like the Sixers were about to run it out, he just have some crazy and one or a deep three. And it was just like, oh my God, is this the time when we lose it? But I'd like to also give a huge point. Adam Bona, you're acting like Jackson Hayes from 2 years ago. Okay, man? He's just running around doing stuff. There's so many little things I could get into. I'll just leave this to you, Shane. There's 7 seconds left, right? Before the halftime. The Sixers, are we up by 1 or are we tied?
No,
Something like that.
No, we were like up by 7 with the chance to push it to 10 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maxey brings the ball over half court. Bona immediately creams Derek White into the floor.
Just for no
Like,
reason.
Why? Like,
I was
just let him
losing my
shoot
mind.
the
I
deep
was
three,
losing my
even
mind watching
contested. I just
He can't
leave it at that
he
for
can't
now.
have any
But
more minutes. Before I throw it to you, Shane, he can't have minutes. If Embiid comes back at any point, he cannot step on the floor. He is not an NBA basketball player, and it's as simple as that. But everything apart from that for the Sixers was superb.
Yeah, so he had 22 minutes in this game, and I'm surprised he did get the point where he was still playing when he got to like 16, 17 minutes. Like, how was he still out there? 3 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 for 4 from the field. Just pathetic. He was the only one of the starters that didn't have. No, he wasn't actually. Paul George also didn't have. They were both 0 in the plus and minus, but at least Paul George is doing something. This fella was just out there to cause havoc, and he was causing more havoc for the Sixers than he was for the Celtics, and that's really not his job. Like, there's enough Celtic lads to cause enough havoc for the Sixers that they don't need one of their own doing it as well. As Michael kind of said, like, there was no way what happened in game 1 was going to happen again. It was just about if he could keep Boston out enough to get over the line, and keeping Boston under 100 it must be some confidence boost going into game 3 now, and when you're bringing them back home as well. So yeah, like, I still don't think you will get through it. I'm sure you're probably in the same boat at the moment, but this is the kind of performance that shows, like, you had kind of ups and downs throughout the season, you dips and you had all that kind of things, but you really are a good basketball team. Just get Embiid back in here at some point, and who knows, he could very easily push this to 7 and maybe knock him out. But we'll have to wait and see on that. I just thought, like, the Celtics didn't play badly, but the Sixers were just played him really well, especially in the fourth quarter, keeping them to 20 points is some going. Especially when Joe, the Celtics, when they're going downhill looking to get over the line and something, for them to only score 20 points in the fourth quarter it says more about the Sixers than it does about the Celtics, I think, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, and two big things in the fourth was when the Celtics cut it to 2. The Sixers went on an 8-0 run, and then after that they hit another 3. Kelly Oubre, so it was 11-0 run. So that really like silenced the crowd and ended the game. Those 2 maxi threes were huge. And then to look at in general, I think the main part of this game that changed was the Sixers defense. They put so much effort in, and they have great defenders. And some of the shots Brown hits, he's not hitting them another night. I know some other Celtics missed their shots, but some of the shots he hit, there's people like draped on him. He has no space, and he's just banging in shots. And he is a great player, but that's not consistently reliable. The Celtics shot from 3, they'll shoot a lot, we know. They had 16 of 44 in the first game and 13 of 50 in the second. So they shot 6 more in the second game, but neither game they made an outrageous amount of threes. So if the Sixers can keep doing what they're doing on defense and using this drop coverage that the Celtics are doing on defense to their advantage, then I think we're in business to make this a bit of a series, because if you're going to keep dropping on Maxi and VJ and giving them wide open threes off screens, they're going to bury them. And then if Cade wants to step up, Maxi's just going to torch him. So that's why they're not stepping up, because they're scared of the pace. But when you're actually hitting threes, you're going to have to step up pretty quick. So I'd like to see how the Celtics adapt to that in the next game, because that was why really the Sixers scored so many points. Any
I
closing
think
thoughts?
another huge I think a huge thing was the lack of turnovers from the Sixers as well. So there was only one person who had two turnovers. It was Edgecombe, and the rest were just one each for George Bona. How he only got one turnover was actually probably the most surprising thing. Maxey had one, and then Edwards and Drummond off the bench both. Sorry, Drummond and Grimes had one each. Like, we're going to come on and talk about the Rockets in a second. KD had 9 on his own. He had 7 as a whole team. Like, that is makes such a difference. If you're not turning the ball over stupidly, you're obviously going to score more points. You're going to get better looks. You're going to have more opportunities, and like that mightn't be a sustainable level to keep turnovers under 10 for 7 games in a row. But if you can keep it in or around that, I think it really, really helps going forward. Just minding the ball is so important.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. You guys kind of touched on everything. I was gonna kind of hit. The Bona thing is a big thing as well,
Mm.
mainly because Dominic Barlow went out. I think he scratched his eye. I haven't heard anything about it, but Jalen Brown raked him across the face, and he's been out since. So, I mean, Adam Boda, I don't believe in you, but if you can string together like a good 20 minutes and we can have Andre Drummond hit another 2 threes in a game, I'll be happy. Okay. It's really upsetting as well because the way our team is structured, I think right now at full health, the Sixers definitely could beat the Celtics because their weakness is probably their center position.
Yeah.
But the best player in the series is currently out with appendicitis. So I don't know. Everything hurts for me as a fan, and I'm waiting to get destroyed. But for now, I will live with the reincarnation of Allen Iverson screaming as he shuts up Boston. Okay. That was a high I'm not going to forget for the rest of the playoffs. Oh my God.
Yeah, unbelievable moment, and hopefully we get at least one more good game out of this team when we get back to Philly, and then hopefully we see Embiid and make something out of it. But we'll move from that into a not so hot topic. The Lakers are 2 up against Shane's Rockets. Yeah, it's not been pretty at all. The Rockets couldn't crack 100 in either game, both games in LA. So going back to Houston next. Shane, the floor is yours here.
So I'm just going to start with a stat. So since the start of the finals in 2022, Udoka is 5 of 10 in the 15 games. In 9 of those 15 games, his team haven't scored 100 points. 2022, they scored 88, 97, 94, and 90 against Golden State. In 2025, 85 and 93 against Golden State. And obviously so far, 98 and 94 against the Lakers. Like, it's unsustainable. Like, I don't understand why he has set Reed Shepherd. Like, 11 minutes is all Reed played the other night. You have KD, as I just mentioned, 9 turnovers. They don't shoot threes. They're not getting to the free throw line. Like, Durant had 8 of 9 from free throws. That's fine. The rest of them aren't getting to the free throw line. What has happened to Şengün? Like, what was he in the second game? He's always looked like he's running in treacle. Like, he always is slow, but he just seems, when his confidence is down, he seems to be even slower. The one where Aaron Holiday falls and he falls on top of him is just, that's like, I don't think that moment is going to be topped this season. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And then it's the Reed Shepherd thing is just driving me insane. Terry Eason, 27 minutes, Reed Shepherd, 11. Like, Reed has been a better player than Eason all season. Like, the only, like, I don't think you can't blame his defense because none of the rest of them are defending either. Like, so you can't say, oh, there's only putting him out there, he can't defend. Like, you're letting Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard score 25 and 23 on you, as well as LeBron, obviously, 28. I don't understand. I don't see where there's just the attacking is just all over the place. A bit like my sentence at the moment. It's just coming out of all angles. None of them know what they're doing when they get forward. They don't drive to the line. And Şengün's punt fakes are just the worst you'll ever see. It's literally just like this, and it's like it's so obvious. Like, you don't throw a ball like this with 2 hands. I'd love to hear what you think. I think we are in the depths of despair here because this isn't a team that is going anywhere. And I was listening to a Rockets podcast last night. Bordeaux is your man's name. I can't remember the other fella's name, and they were saying At the start of the season, we're like, oh, we're contenders. Then we're like, let's get a top 4. Let's just get into the playoffs. Let's get out of the first round. Now it's like, oh, it's great to be in the first round. Like they've dropped the bar so many times this season to make it like seem like it's going to be a good season, and they can't even meet the bottom rung of the ladder, which was get out of round 1. They're probably not even going to do that now, and it's just, you know what, it feels like a waste of 82 games, because what are you in it for if you're going to come out here and just show up like this in the playoffs after being so good at times, 9-1 coming into the playoffs, and this what they put out against the Lakers team. They're missing their 2 most important players. It's just absolute nonsense.
Michael, what do you think?
We'll start with the Rockets, first of all, because there's so much to talk about. First of all, KD, congrats. You were correct. You are an asshole, though. You outed your entire team's problems. You have done nothing to fix it, which is partially on the front office, because heads up, everybody knew going into this year you guys did not have a point guard. 9 months have went by. You do not have a point guard. So on that sense, Katie's right. It's not his fault. These guys can't shoot. What am I meant to do? But also, you're getting doubled every time, man. You're the best player on the floor. Well, debatable
For the
now.
Rockets.
But the best player on the floor for the Rockets, you're getting doubled. You can't do anything, and you're upset because other people can't shoot. Hey, man, this is why they brought you in. They brought you in because you're an automatic scorer, and you should be able to do this. However, since we found out in the Brooklyn Celtics series from a couple of years ago, if you just double Kevin Durant, his playmaking isn't good enough for him to actually help his team win. Who's on the floor for that? Marcus Smart. Who was his head coach? Ime Udoka. So Ime, now that you drew up the game plan against KD and it got demonstrated for you twice in March, back-to-back games, you have now had 2 months to plan and you have nothing. You still refuse to play Reed Shepherd. You still just put the ball in Kevin Durant's hands and hopes that he does something. It's actually so embarrassing. It is actually embarrassing. I'll leave the Lakers until we come back around, but I can't believe this is an NBA team that I really thought at the start of the season was gonna at least go second round Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think.
But Udoka said he was really happy to keep the Lakers to 101. It's just we can't shoot, and I let James come in there because all he cares about is defense. And it's.
Well,
go on, James.
That's the perfect segue into my first point, was because the 11 minutes that Shepherd got was because Ime did the thing that he always likes to do. When Shepherd makes one mistake on defense, he's just like, timeout,
Pulls him out,
sits him down, berates him on the sideline, and the man doesn't get back into the game again. He made one, I think he missed an assignment on Smart. Smart banged a 3, calls the timeout just to prove the point, and then literally tear into him on the sideline. Sorry, but you're playing Tari Eason out there, the same guy who, when the game was 92-97, he thinks that the Lakers are going to kill the clock, so he falls asleep and LeBron just cuts to the rim. So if he's the guy that's out there for your defense instead, he's literally putting people in danger out there with his shots because he can't even hit the rim. And you're sitting Reed Shepherd on the sideline. It doesn't make 1 ounce of sense. This coach is not the guy to take a team to any extent or any run in the playoffs, because he focuses way too much on something that's outdated in the league. The league now is gone 3-point heavy, and this is the worst 3-point shooting team I've watched in a long time. The Trailblazers are bad, but at times they can get hot. The Rockets cannot shoot threes. 11 of 33 in the first game, 7 of 29 in the second game. It's just abysmal. And to be honest, at this point, Shane, I'm sorry, but if they could grab a game or 2 and then lose 4-2, I think that would be a better outcome for you than what one of these other teams is going to do to them in the next round, because it's going to be an absolute demolition.
It's OKC in the next round.
Yeah.
What can we possibly expect to happen there? Şengün is your center. He's the one. He's in under the rim. He's meant to be either getting free throws or just like the little ones that he's all of a sudden he's forgotten how to just do the little tap it in. He was 9 for 20 and 0 for 1 from three. Like what if he's not adding more than 20 points to your game? Look, like I'm not saying be Jokic, but look what Jokic adds to the Nuggets. Even when he's not scoring, he can do stuff defensively. But he is obviously always scoring, which helps as well. But 9 of 20, and most of them are just they're inside the free throw line. And he hits the rim or bounce him off the back, either too heavy or too light. He's very rarely perfect. And don't even get on to me about trees, because how this team can still be so bad at trees 2 years later is incredible. Unless it's Reed Shepherd and he wasn't hot in this game now, and I don't blame him because he only got 11 minutes. But outside of him, like Jabari scored 3 of 7 and he was our best shooter from three. Terry Easton 2 for 6, Durant 1 of 4. Like this is just embarrassing numbers. Shingun tried one, as I just said, got 0. Ikogi 1 of 3. Like Clint Capella, so he only scored his first three in his career in the last game of the season. He's in the league about 12 years, scores his first ever three. Like you said to me after game one, if I'd get rid of Shingun to bring in Giannis, and I was just straight, I was like, no, like I believe in this lad. I do think now there's time to get rid of him and get in a three shooter, try and get in Giannis or something like that, because this team in its current iteration, it's going nowhere. Like even before game one, we were saying Josh Okogie cannot be starting playoff games, and here he is playing 24 minutes in game two, scoring 7 points. So ineffective. It's unbearable. I liked him at the start of the season, but I thought he was like a short term fix. I thought Finney Smith was going to come in and do something. Clearly, that hasn't worked. Yeah, I don't know. It's just this team, as it is at the moment, is so far off. What like I presume when they brought in Kevin Durant, they're like, this is the year now we go and push on. If Anton, they've gone backwards. Like they finished with the same record as last year. They're going to go out in the first round like they did last year, having given up their first round pick, given up Dylan Brooks, who I think is a massive loss to this team. Even if he's not putting up any trees at the Sun, but he's the one that sets the standards. Jalen Green, another man who set the standard last year. Well, not really set the standard, but like he would do an almighty job in this team because he can hit trees. Dylan Brooks can hit trees. They've gotten rid of their 2 3-point shooters, and I don't know how Eamon Thompson is so bad at trees. Like, how can you be? I reckon if you gave us 100 shots each, I actually think I put down more trees than he does. And I'm not even joking. Like, I actually think I put down more trees than he. I'd miss the first 10 warming up, and then I might get 15. He's getting about 1 out of the 100, I say.
Yeah.
I know Michael would beat him in a 3-point contest. I can't believe how bad it is. And I'm going to stop talking now because I've done enough. And we are trying to keep these short and condensed, which I clearly haven't done. So I'll let you have the last word on the Lakers there before we move on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to write before I let you say, Mike, because I know you have some thoughts on the Lakers. I just thought two things quickly, as Luke Kennard was exceptional. 9 of 13 from the floor on game one, 5 of 5 from three. And then last night, 8 of 13 and 3 of 6 from three. 27 and 23 points. Just superb. I think if he was like one of the first options on like a poor team, he'd be putting up like 27, 28 points a game over a season. 6 bench points in game two from the Lakers, and they still won. That's just
mad.
crazy. But yeah, Michael, any closing Lakers thoughts?
No, my last thing to say is, as Doc Rivers has retired, I think a new one is here. Ime, you're living off that finals run. That was not you at all, but whatever, man. I guess I'm sure there'll be some other tanking team that will bring you in and think that you're the answer for them. Just keep milking it. You got to learn from Doc Rivers on all of that, like press speak. Okay, bringing it to the Lakers. And that's where the wardrobe change comes in, guys. Okay.
Well, he's changed his wardrobe. Do you think Udoka does get sacked if they go out in the first round again?
Yeah, I think that he does. I don't see how they could keep him, to be honest. Michael can't
Yeah.
do it if anyone's wondering why.
Absolute mastery. Everything
It's got the
that
LeBron
you
James on
wish
backwards.
Sengun did on the Rockets, it's all LeBron, okay? Not only is it the Rockets' nightmare, it's also the Lakers' front office nightmare because he proves to them, hey, you can't replace me in free agency. I am the best option the best third option you'll ever have. And he proves it in both games. Like, he is just dismantling this Rockets team. It's crazy. There's a 6 possession sequence in the third quarter of game 2 where LeBron just calls a DeAndre Ayton pick and roll. The first 3 are like missed passes or bobbles, whatever. He just keeps calling it again. The fourth one is a drop in, easy 2. The fifth one is an easy kick out, easy 3. And the sixth one, Sengun is no longer on the floor. He has been subbed out because LeBron is just abusing everybody on this team. If Jabari Smith steps up, he's taking him to the post. He's so smart at this age and he's so aware of his limitations. But you really just expected the 6th best defense in the league to do something against a team that's missing 56 points in scoring. It's crazy. Also, like you said, Luke Kennard, 77% from 3 in 2 games. Like, looks like all-star right now if he keeps this up. Like, genuinely just going absolutely nuts. He's the best 3-point shooter on the floor. He still shot 5 of them yesterday. Don't know. Like, I just... It's just a crazy... It's so crazy to watch a 41-year-old go out and dominate this young team with so much athleticism. It's wild.
Yeah, there's no world in which the 41-year-old LeBron is supposed to be dominating 37-year-old KD in this series, but
No,
yeah, he did.
here we are.
He did in game 2. So let's move on to Spurs versus Blazers. These ones, obviously, we don't have a support of either of these teams, so we'll probably go a bit less on these. But nonetheless, this one is 1-1. Wemby concussion takes him out of the game after only playing 12 minutes in game 2. It looked pretty bad. He smacked his face on the floor and he was really like discombobulated. He couldn't even sit up. I reckon if he does even miss one game, he should be fine for the game after that because I don't think the concussion protocol will keep him out any longer than that. And that shouldn't affect the Spurs' ability to win the series. But it doesn't make the next game interesting because I think they're only 1.5-point favorites now for game 3. It's in Portland. They were 99-90 up, the Spurs were, with 5 minutes left, and the Blazers went on a 16-4 run to end it. Before I throw it to you guys, Scoot Henderson, unbelievable. I said it on the podcast before we got into the playoffs that I'm more interested in him than I am Denny Avdia. Last night, or 2 nights ago, 31, 1 rebound, 0 assists. That boy knows how to score. He doesn't know how to do anything else. Okay, it's a bit harsh on him. Sometimes he does play make, but he was just on fire in that game, and 78.9% true shooting, which is unbelievable. So yeah, he was the one that carried them in that. But what do you guys think of this series? What way is it going to shake out?
So I do think that Blazers will win game 3 if Wemby is out, but I do still think that the Spurs will obviously get through this because they are the better team. Avdilla was only got to the line for 5 free throws in the last game. Like he normally gets about 20 games, so he'll bring that up to his average again in game 3 and get it over the line. But then once Wemby is back, I just think the Spurs team, I think they've too much for most teams in these playoffs, but I think they'll definitely get past the Trailblazers.
Yeah, I feel like without Wemby, it's definitely a chance that the Blazers win the next game. I think the big thing is Denny didn't really have that great of a game. I know Scoop popped off, but like the fact that they won and he played so average, if he has a good game, I think it could be a lot closer. But the big thing with the Spurs is like the Rockets, a lot of these guys cannot shoot, man. Stephon Castle is being guarded by Donovan Clingan, who is leaving him at the 3-point line and just staying in the paint.
Yeah.
Like, it's shocking. you really feel the shooting difference without Wemby on the floor, just because he can shoot from anywhere. But it'll
Especially
be
when Keldon
interesting as
Johnson
well
is really cold and he just won 6 man of the year,
yeah,
but he can't hit threes so far in these first two.
yeah, really struggling right now. I think the big question is, and a big X for the Spurs is, Luke Cornett has suddenly become ultra important, because in minutes in the regular season, with neither Wemby or Cornett on the floor, they are minus 39. Like, a crazy statistic, because the sample size is so limited. But like, I think they've just been so used to feeding these guys into their 7 foot big, whether it's their starting one or their off the bench one, that these minutes without Luke Cornett, he's gonna have to play 30 plus, I think,
Mm.
because the minutes without him might get really rough for a team as like being big and long as the Blazers. They want to take it to the rim. If you don't have that 7 footer there, they're just gonna keep going at you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think
I do as well,
those
yeah.
moments are going to be more important now too, because Cornet obviously without Wemby can't play 48 minutes. So if they're going to if the Blazers are clever about this, they could stagger Klingen's minutes in a way that he's on the floor for more of the non-Cornet minutes and just demolishes them. But yeah, I do think the shooting is an issue, and I need to see more from De'Aaron Fox. He was okay in game one. He didn't score much, but Wemby's out there, so he got his 8 assists, and that was kind of all he's there for. But in game two, only 12 Wemby minutes, he still scored the same amount, and then he had 4 less assists. So that's not good enough. You need to step up when Wemby's not out there. Any other thoughts, Shane, before we move on to the next?
No, I think I've said all I need to say. I do think they'll still get through, but if they don't have Wemby for game three, everything you've said rings true, where they are going to really rely on Cornet, and they are going to need De'Aaron Fox to step up as well as Stefan Castle, who, as Michael said, was really poor the other night. So they are going to need the rest of them to stand up, because you don't have a season like they've had just relying on one person. They need to remember what they did in the regular season when Wemby was out and get back to that kind of level of doing things, and they should be absolutely fine then.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on to another big series in the West, which is OKC versus the Suns. This one is 2-0 to OKC. It's very difficult to see the Suns winning any. Maybe one. I said OKC in five, I think, at the start, but I just think they'll walk this by the end. Booker needs to do more. I get he was frustrated with some of the calls last night, but he's just not good enough on the offensive end in either game. You cannot have a game at any point when you're Devin Booker and you've been with the Suns for this long and you only take 14 shots. Meanwhile, Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks takes 23 each. That's just not something that
Yeah.
should ever be happening. Okay, Brooks got really, really hot, which is why he kept taking shots late in the game, and he's the one that clawed them back into it. So sometimes you'll excuse like a random sample like that. Green was not shooting well last night. He was taking some ridiculous shots. He hit some nice shots because if you take enough of them, some of them are going to go down. But he took some
Yeah.
woeful shots, and his shooting percentage was bad. He should not have taken
He
23.
was one
Booker
of
should have.
8 from 3.
Yeah, so if Booker was like, a real leader of this team, he would have said, stop shooting, give me the ball, let me make the decisions. But that's not what happened. And SGA on the other end, 37, 5, and 9, just absolutely destroyed them.
The Thunder just
Yeah,
did what the Thunder do, really, didn't they? It's kind of what they've done all season long, really. They do enough to get over the line. And when you have someone like SGA, like, you're always going to be in a really, really good position. He's probably going to win MVP, or did he win it? Did I see? Oh no, he won Clutch Player of the Year today, sorry, or last night. I just think, as you said, it's very hard to see the Suns picking up even one game at this stage. I do hope they do, because I don't think they deserve to lose 4-0, but anyone that comes up against this Thunder team could very easily lose 4-0.
yeah, I think it's inevitable that they get swept. I'm right with you, James. I just feel like Devin Booker kind of has to do a bit more on the offensive side. Another thing with Jalen Green, got 7 turnovers, man. Can't be chucking the ball up that much and have 7 turnovers. Like, it's bad luck for the team. But you want to think in your head like, oh yeah, Devin Booker, we should be feeding him the ball. He's got 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
Like, he's also the Suns had this whole era where they, after Chris Paul, they didn't need a point guard, like point guard by association. Devin Booker can point guard a little bit. It didn't really look like it. I mean, it's upsetting to see the Suns that you see in so many regular seasons games like claw and fight their way into tough and close matchups. Like, you look at them now and really, I don't think that the surrounding cast played horribly enough for them to lose the game that bad, other than Jalen Green, really. But Devin Booker, you have to take charge of the team, man. You've got to just say, I need the ball. You got to give me the ball. I need every second possession. If I don't touch the ball, it's a bad possession. Like, something's got to happen, because I mean, you scored 70. You were like Bam for us one season. Come on, man. Like, you're that guy. Believe in yourself. My God. The fact that we're even saying this about Devin Booker is crazy.
I do think that take you called on him was in his head for the rest of that game as well. I think he just couldn't let go of the fact that he threw the ball back in the play and get called a take on him. I think that really, really got to him, and like the fact you could see it in the interview after, he was still so annoyed. But like, that's the kind of thing that when you are in the league 11 years, you need to just be able to put that to the back of your mind and just say, okay, it's gone against me. Blah blah blah. Give me the ball. I'm going to make it back up and score 4 threes in a row instead of what do you hit? He hit 0 of 3 from three. Like, and that's not good enough if you are going to be the leader of this team. Jalen Green, 1 of 8. Dylan Brooks, 5 of 9. Like, he's the only one that was able to hit threes last night. Actually, yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the free throws a second. I was like, oh wait, he was 8 of 10, but no, he was definitely 0 of 3. But yeah, it's just this OKC team can do what they did for 3 quarters to anyone. It's just about kind of just have to keep your foot on them and try and stay in a game, because it's all very good playing one good quarter. When it's the fourth quarter and you still lose by 13, it doesn't really make much of a difference if you're going into that quarter 23 down.
Yeah, I agree with that point. It's a great point, because if they actually played well in the other quarters, not like perfectly, but were more careful with the ball, they could have actually made a run there that scares OKC a little bit, rather than, oh, we just cut it to 10, and then Lou Dort hits a rainbow three like on the next play and it's all
Yeah.
over. Like, it's like 22 turnovers for Phoenix is why they lost. There was 22 points off those turnovers for OKC. And then on the other side, OKC only turned it over 10 times and the Suns only scored 9. That's a 13-point difference. That's the game right there. So if you take care of the ball
Yeah.
a little bit better, then you're giving yourself a fighting chance. But it is easier said than done for the majority of time against these OKC defenders who are very handsy and they know how to get into passing lanes very well. But Jalen Green, just come on, man, just do better. And it's up to Devin Booker to sort that out, like you said, Michael. Any other thoughts,
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, I was gonna say, quick shout out to Malawak, the rookie. Look great
He
in
looked
limited
good.
minutes against the Thunder. But as for the Thunder, J-Dub tweaked something in his hamstring, is out, possibly out for the rest of the series, because OKC don't really need him for this. But AJ Mitchell
No,
looks
he was
great.
so
Looks
good.
like he's ready to take up some of those minutes, man. It looks like he's been waiting for this opportunity and he's taken it. 5 for 12. Not fantastic, but I expect like an uptick in his production. Another thing, OKC is treating this like it's the regular season. 10 players played, like more than 10 minutes each as well. Like, it's shocking that they're doing this in round 1 and just wiping the floor so convincingly, you know. But SGA as well. My average 30 this series, especially with J-Dub out for the rest of it. He looks unbelievable, man. I know everyone hates his free throws, but like, man, he's still one of the best mid-range shooters in the league. He just does whatever whenever he wants, gets whatever. So skilled with his footwork, with creating angles and using his dribble to get open. I don't know. It's a master at work.
Yeah, it's a joy to watch it, and hopefully we'll see it for a long time to come in the playoffs, because that's what you watch it for. Last one then of the games that aren't on tonight is Pistons versus Magic. This one is 1-1. First game was kind of crazy. The Pistons scored 83, I think it was, and the Magic won that one without cracking 100. The Magic just tried really, really hard, but the Pistons looked like a team that hadn't played in like 2 weeks, which they pretty much hadn't. And Cade had only played like 3 games since he returned from injury. And then normality resumed in game two. The Magic actually did still fight. Like they played as hard as they could. Jalen Suggs has been super. I think he's been fighting really hard and he's been playing the best he can. And they may grab one of these games at home just for the fight of a guy like him. But Franz has been pretty poor offensively. 12 points in game two, 4 of 11 shooting. And Cade, despite Jalen Doran being quiet and only scoring 11 and 8 in game two and game one, Cade has just looked unbelievable, and he's been somebody that carried the load of shooting in the first game. Even though they didn't get the win, he did pretty much everything offensively. In game two, finally the other guys shook the rust off, and he was able to dictate the game like he usually does and find players when they need it and when they're open. So I'll throw this one to you, Michael. Do you have any thoughts on this one? I think it's kind of a Pistons in six at most at this point.
Yeah, I also think it's a Pistons in 6. I think the Magic needs to decide whether or not they want to be a good basketball team. Because, man, I've never seen such variance in a team between games. Like, even in this game, going through it, I mean, they're looking good. Everything's looking great. And then you come out at halftime, it's tied up. The Rockets go on a 30-3 run. I thought you were all this big hoopla like defensive team. A 30-3 run. Are did we luck through the play-in? What happened? Cuz like I thought you were bad. You demolished the Hornets and you win game 1 and now you're bad again. So are we just going to be bad for the next 3 games and you're just going to limp out of here? I don't understand. I mean, Anthony Black had a huge stretch of the season where he was performing.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a blip, I guess, because that it just hasn't materialized late in the regular season or the postseason. I don't even put that much blame on Franz Wagner. The Magic, from reports, completely mishandled their injury, rushed him back so he could play in Germany in the NBA Europe game. The injury was way worse than they thought. They sidelined him supposedly for the rest of the season. He came back early again before the postseason and isn't playing that great. I'm not surprised. I'm not sure if he should be playing, but the team just looks rough. The Pistons, however, looking pretty good. Tobias Harris, if we could have got this production from you 3 years ago, I wouldn't be complaining as much. But sure, okay, do it for the Pistons. That's fine. I've kind of got the same point as you. Cade is amazing, and Jalen Duren, just want to see a bit more offensively out of you. Okay, had 4 offensive rebounds. That's great. You were averaging 5 in the Knicks series last year. This is your first time hitting 4 this series. Just keep mounting on that, okay? Love to see 15 plus points this next game, you know? If he's going to use this game to kind of get into the postseason and keep performing like he did in the regular season, they could have a great round 2. But if he just stays at this, I think it'll be really rough for the Pistons moving forward.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. Just this is the Pistons' first home playoff win since either 2002 or 2008, which I thought was a wild stat. Other than that, like the scoring in this game was absolutely hilarious. The fact that it was level at halftime and the both quarters went 25-21, 21-25. Like it didn't show a whole lot for him. If anyone in Ireland stayed up to watch this, I do feel for him. There was two they both had a quarter, but one of them Magic scored 18, and then in the last quarter it was 14-21 to the Magic. It was I can't imagine it was much of a spectacle, but I agree. I think the Pistons will get through it. The Magic do need to work out where they're going, and I think we have. Yeah, I just think this is one of these series that's just gonna limp over the line. People will forget it even happened, and we'll see what happens in round 2 with the Pistons then.
Yeah, I will say on Cade, he sold me on a 3-legged bet because I had 3 Duncan Robinson threes, which he cashed Jalen Suggs 4 rebounds. He had 6. And then I had Cade over 28.5 points. He had 27 and he missed 4 free
Yeah.
throws, which was 4 of 8 from the line. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the other 3 games that are on tonight. What I think what's a good thing to do is, because we don't want to do too much on this. One of us will take each game and give a very quick thought. So I'm gonna just throw it random. Michael, I'll throw it to you on Cavs Raptors.
Ooh, Cavs Raptors. Okay, so first of all, I think we've heard the clip from Brandon Ingram complaining that he's setting screens and he's not happy with his role and all this. Brandon Ingram, I don't know what to tell you, man. You got to talk to your coach about that. Shouldn't be talking to reporters about that, because the last thing you want to do is tell the other team exactly what you don't like doing. Because now, if you're the Cavs, you're going into the locker room and you say, "Hey guys, whoever holds Brandon Ingram to under 4 shots in a quarter, I'm giving you $200." And just watch Brandon Ingram make the Raptors implode. It looks really good for the Cavs right now. But every James Harden team looks great at the start, you know? I Everybody seems to be clicking. Evan Mobley's performing. Donovan Mitchell and Harden look like the duo that the Cavs were banking their trade on, but it just feels so meaningless. I just know the 2 for 11 game from Harden's going to come out at some point, and I know Cavs fans are going to be super upset, and they're going to say we couldn't imagine this coming. And everybody who has been dealt with Harden over the past few years will say no, it always happens at the end. But I think the Cavs win this. I would be shocked if the Raptors pull this off. And final little tidbit: Jakob Poeltl legitimately looking like the worst center in the playoffs right now. I think he had
He's
5
not. We have
points in game
Shingun.
1
Shingun
and
is there.
4.
And
He can't be
Bona.
the worst center.
I actually don't know, because with the contract that Jakob Poeltl has, and he doesn't have the bonus of, oh, he's young, he can grow into it. 9 points in 2 games, I think. That's shocking, man. You're supposed to be a starting center. Colin Murray-Boyles, rookie again, might have to start taking way more of those minutes, because it's just not looking great with him.
I'll throw Nuggets and Timberwolves to you, Shane, the most glamorous one.
Yeah, this is only going one way after everything that the Timberwolves have come out and said after pulling the game back against them. They basically told the Nuggets what to do and what not to do. The Nuggets are going to come out here. Yokes are going to drop 50, 11, and 42 or something wild like that, and they're just going to walk all over the Timberwolves in game 3. I literally will keep it that short. The Timberwolves have done so much talking since game 2. It's outrageous. I've never seen the likes of it. I've sent down a couple of clips to you, and it's just, where is this cockiness coming from? Like, honestly, like, I know Anthony Edwards is always cocky, he's hilarious, but it wasn't a good look to come out and basically celebrate winning one game. It's not a good mentality to have, and I just think the Nuggets are going to use that as all the fuel they need to get this one over the line.
Okay, perfect. I'll wrap up then on Hawks Knicks. I still have this going 7. I had the Knicks in 7. I don't know if I'm changing or sticking with that, but I'm just gonna say that I think it goes to 7. I have no idea. But my one thought on this is that, please, Coach Brown, all you have to do is just play your best players. This is not the regular season. We don't need to see minutes from Jose Alvarado. We don't need to see plenty of Jordan Clarkson minutes for his confidence. Can we just play basketball with our best players and win? I would be going crazy if I was a Knicks fan right now. You are not the OKC. This is not, oh, we won a championship last year. All our players are good. We have so many first round talents. We want to get them some playoff minutes, and we're just going to demolish the Suns anyway. This is life or death against the Hawks, who could kill you at any moment. And you're still out here going, maybe we'll get Diawara out there for another 3 or 4 minutes. Just play your best players, and you might actually win. That's all I have on this one. So that's another week of NBA action wrapped up. We will be back again next week with everything could be completely changed at that point, and we'll have all new takes. So stay locked in for it, and we will be back. So as Michael departs us, we're getting to Gan Seans before I move into our football chat. Last week wasn't as good for me. I had 2 5-pointers in a row, so only 1 point was not ideal. But Shane, you dropped a duck egg, unfortunately for you. So I am now 11 points in the clear, 39-28. I did have Bournemouth away to Newcastle. I don't know why I didn't put a bet on it. I was going to because I just thought it was guaranteed. I didn't. They got the win at 11-4. And then I had Warriors to beat the Suns and Sunderland to beat Villa, which didn't come off. You had Raptors to beat Cavs in game one, Sixers to beat Celtics in game one. Unfortunately, if it was game two, you would have
They
been
won game 2.
you would have been
Yeah.
sorted. And then Sunderland to beat Villa, the same as me, which didn't come off. But what have you got this week? You mentioned before we started it was a hard week, and I agree.
Yeah, so with last week, I'm going to blame the fact I was injured, and that's why I missed the podcast last week on my poor performance. Not picking Bournemouth for me is outrageous because all I've done is talk down Newcastle for weeks, and I don't even go against them when I get the chance then. But this week, yeah, it was really difficult. I thought, look, before I even looked at the odds, I was like, surely I can get Leeds here. They're going to be a great price, but no, they're not even underdogs against Chelsea in an FA Cup semi-final. So we'll talk about Chelsea in a couple of minutes. I've gone for Wolves to beat Spurs in the Premier League. Not Timberwolves to beat the San Antonio Spurs, which might happen at some point, but Wolves are 7-2. Spurs are 6-4. Wolves, I know they're just freshly relegated, but they look like a more put together team than Spurs do at the moment. And if they get going at all, then Spurs could be in trouble. Spurs' confidence is non-existent, and even when they do take a lead, they can't hold on to it. So I could see Wolves just carefree now. They have two lads. Their two midfielders are going to the World Cup with Brazil, despite the fact they're getting relegated with Wolves. So they probably have a better midfield than Wolves. I've gone with the Trailblazers to win game 3 against Spurs, which you have just heard me talking up when we were talking about the NBA a couple of minutes ago. The Blazers are 11-10, the Spurs are 8-11. I just think it's a really good bet if Wemby is out, and I've gone with the Suns at 7-2 to beat OKC in game 3. First game back in Phoenix. I just think if they're going to win one, it's going to be this one. So yeah, just please do me a
Yeah,
favor.
I've gone with two of the same
OKC are
as you.
1-5. Sorry.
Okay,
OKC are 1-5 in that. Apologies.
no worries. I've got two of the same. I also have Wolves to beat Spurs because I just think that everyone is in on it now in the Premier League. They're all just,
Yeah.
it'd be funny if Spurs got relegated, so they're going to try their best even if they're already gone. I've also got Blazers to beat Spurs for the same reason, and as you, I think this is a great chance for them, so they need to capitalise while Wemby is out. Plus, some of the arguments we laid out in our NBA section, I think, highlights that. And then my last one is Sixers to beat Celtics 12-5. Celtics are 1-3. That's in game 3. I think just the Sixers going back home, and I'm still not sure what Celtics do about that defensive issue that they have. So I think I'll just take the Sixers while they're hot and just hope that it pays off for me. But let's jump into the football side of things. We're going with Brighton as our performance of the kind of weekend, but it was their Tuesday game that we're actually going to look at because they got a 3-0 win over Chelsea, and it basically did Liam Rosenior out of a job, and it got Brighton into the Europa League qualification spots. They're on 50 points now. 6 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss in their last 8 of the Premier League. Chelsea got an absolute battering. First time since 1912 that they lost 5 games in a row in the Premier League without scoring. So no wonder he got sacked, but Brighton absolutely flying it.
Brighton are on a serious run of form, and it's hard to believe that they went to Spurs and drew when you look at what they did last night, because they are just a team that are purring at the moment. 2.14 xG to 0.37, 5 big chances. Chelsea had none. Verbruggen might as well have stayed at home. He made no saves against a Chelsea team that just looked completely and utterly demented by this manager. He had to go after that performance. He probably should have gone after the one at the weekend against United as well, because they were so poor in that as well. The early goal just settled Brighton down so much. And after that, then there was literally only one winner the whole way through. Imagine having Danny Welbeck suing on you. Like, if whenever losing 3-0, if you're going to let Danny Welbeck go and do that to you when you're getting absolutely battered, then I think it says a whole lot. And there's so many things in this game that I could touch on as the worst part. Like, Brighton aren't a team that, they're a team that are known for passing, but they completed 532 passes in this game. That's PSG levels of passing. Like, that's not what anyone should be letting Brighton do to him, especially in our team who've spent the bones of £1 billion. 14 tackles, Chelsea made 7. Like they really did not want to be out there. And even like 47% possession for Chelsea, they were brutal start to finish. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like I normally, if it's not Liverpool that I'm watching, I'd have like football on and do something else as well. And this was just so mesmerizing to me. I was like, I'm not doing anything else. I need to watch what this Chelsea team are going to do next, because I couldn't believe what I was watching. Garnacho, my good God. Like I was delighted when he was at United last year and how bad he was. He is. Did you see that Roy Jennings clip today where he put out about how much he hates Garnacho? I'll
No.
send it on to him. We're done. It's absolutely it's brilliant. We might share it on the socials even so everyone else can see it as well. It's hilarious just how much he hates Garnacho, but I don't blame him, and he's not the only one. We said it a couple of weeks back, and it could have been during the transfer window, that what Chelsea have been doing is buying players, then selling the likes of Madueke and bringing in Garnacho, a player who's of equal level, if not worse, just a tiny bit younger, and making maybe 10 million on selling Madueke and bringing in Garnacho. And then they think they're going to be a top club. Like that's not how it works. Liam Rosenior, the manager, not a manager. He was a manager along with many of his other coaches as well. Like Jesus, he was something else. And like they have to go and play Leeds now at the weekend. I'll let you touch on it first, and we'll get on to the FA Cups then. This Brighton team are they're a problem in this league now from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, I was looking at their last fixtures. They've got Newcastle, who are not very hot at the moment.
Brutal.
Then they've got Wolves and Leeds, who Wolves are gone, and maybe they'll get their banter in against Spurs before they get that game. Then Leeds will probably be safe by then. And then United
They are
in the
safe
last
now.
game, who will probably be solidified in the top 3 or 4 at that point. So like they might cruise to 3 or 4 wins there from the last 4 and get that Europa League spot, which would be immense for them. But yeah, one stat I saw when I was looking back at Chelsea's results, and it was actually shocking. 5 out of their last 8 games were lost by exactly 3 goals, and 4 of them were exactly 3-0. That is just absolutely nuts. That is just horrendous. Like 24 million in the back pocket for a senior after doing 4 months of a 6-year deal. But you mentioned that they're playing in the FA Cup semis at the weekend against Leeds. So I'll actually be in London for the London Marathon this Sunday. So that game will also be on in London at the same time. So I'm sure it'll be absolute bedlam across London, obviously in different areas, but across the whole place. So it'll be a good buzz around. But I really like Leeds to get the win. I like them to get the win before Rose Senior got sacked. Now he's gone. I like it even more because although he wasn't helping matters, I just think this team is too young. It has no leaders. Whatever kind of a leader he was, it was probably better than having no manager at all. So I just think Leeds are going to capitalise here and get themselves into an FA Cup final. I just can't see Chelsea winning this game at all. There's nothing in my mind that can envision this being the saviour for them of the season. I just think their season is shot to bits. And this Leeds game will probably avoid them the embarrassment of getting pummeled by City in the final, because I think the other semi, while it's great to have Southampton there, I ultimately think City will probably make light enough work of them.
Yeah, so but my City preview for this is 6 words. It's City will walk it too easy. So that's my City opinion. Like as you said, it's great Southampton are there, and it's great to see Finazaz and Ryan Manning are going to get a chance at Wembley this season for the first time. You might get a second one in the playoffs as well, the way things are going. But I also agree with everything you said. I think it would have been easier for Leeds if Rosenior was still there, because your man McFarland is really liked by the players, so they might put in a bit more effort. But I still just think this Leeds team are on a high. That last minute goal they got against Bournemouth is going to, it will feel like a win from it. Put them 9 points clear of Spurs, even if it is a game played more than Spurs have. I just can't see Chelsea having enough fight in them to go out here and actually make a game of this. I think it's only going to go one way, and I think you'll be 2-0 to Leeds. Yeah, it's going to be over in 90 minutes. 2-0 Leeds.
Yeah, I think if I have to give a score, I'll go 2-0 as well, because I just think Chelsea can't score. And Leeds are, yeah, they'll be up for it. I think I'd like to see Leeds and I know two massive rivals of United, Leeds and Man City, but I'd like to see that in a final of an FA Cup. Would be good, like a good clash, and Leeds would try to pose problems by being tough to break down for City. So yeah, that would be an interesting matchup. But we've got a Premier League game to preview as well. Arsenal versus Newcastle. Look, Arsenal need to stop the bleeding right now, or they're out of this title race. Their results in April are abysmal. They started off April by losing 2-1 to Southampton in the FA Cup quarters. They beat Sporting 1-0 away from home in the Champions League quarter-final first leg, which they kind of rode their luck in that one. They lose 2-1 at home to Bournemouth in the league. Then a 0-0 against Sporting just to creep through, another one that they rode their luck in. And then they lose 2-1 to City away to give City back control of the title race. Look, the game before that as well was a 2-0 loss to City in the cup final. So they really, really need to do something. They're playing like a team that just wants to try and sneak as many 1-0 wins as they can and see things out. But they can't do that anymore. They have to start playing football because they're the ones on the back foot. So this game is pretty big because I'm pretty sure there's reports that Eddie Howe is meeting with the club hierarchy after this game. And if Arsenal win, he could be gone. So this is two managers that are playing for a lot right now with their teams.
Yeah, so Arsenal haven't won a domestic game in April in the last 3 years.
Wow.
I know
That's
there's an
nice.
international break that kind of breaks it off, but even still, there's still 3 league games in there, an FA Cup game at times, and a Carabao Cup game every now and again, although the final is only done by then. They haven't won a domestic game in 3 years in April. Like
That's
it's
crazy.
absolutely mental. And
Yes.
they they really need to come out here against Newcastle, and they need to try and put them to the sword. They can't come out and do what they did against Bournemouth. It's not going to work. I know this Newcastle team are really poor as well, but if you give any team any sort of inspiration of getting something, and they go 1-0 up, and especially a Newcastle team who have, like, once they are 1-0 up, they are good to sit in and hold out. They have their front lads are really good at pressing. Anthony Gordon in particular is really good at pressing. If Arsenal go 1-0 down here, they could be in real trouble. And I'd say their confidence is in bits after that City game as well. And they're not scoring goals. Gallagher is going to come out of this season with 20 goals in all competitions somewhere, but he's not the answer. He was never the answer. We said before the season kicked off, he wasn't the answer, and we are no geniuses. So the fact that we knew meant that everyone else knew as well. This is going to be a slugfest of a game. I think Arsenal will nick it, but I don't think it looks well for them to go on and do anything. I don't think they're going to win the league now, thankfully.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. But I do think that Newcastle are facing a tough situation because of Anthony Gordon ultimately kind of ruling himself out of the last game because he's
Yeah.
looking for a move away. And then Eddie Howe's comments saying that they don't want any players that don't want to give their all for the club, which is kind of pointed. It seems like it's pointed at Gordon. So it's quite an interesting one. I think maybe Newcastle and Eddie Howe are the type of team that have the mentality of if Gordon isn't available again, they'll go out in spite of him and try their best to win this game because they'll have time to prepare for it. I don't know if they have enough to actually win it with how good Arsenal can be defensively, but Arsenal will have to play some football too. So I think a massive chance to go ahead of City since they're in the FA Cup, just again, even with a game in hand, but I just have a 2-2 for this. I just can't see Arsenal winning the
Oh,
game. I don't think they have enough mentally, and I think Newcastle are going to put up as much of a fight as they can for Eddie Howe because I think a lot of the players are still for him despite the fact that he's probably gone. So I'm going with 2-2 and Arsenal fans to be really, really upset after it.
yeah. I was thinking during the week, would it be funnier if Arsenal lost the league on goal difference, goals scored, or actually just lost the league by 3 points? And I haven't come to a decision so I'll have a decision next week in which I think will be funnier for them to lose the league in what way. I do think they'll win this. I think they'll win it 2-1. I think they couldn't ask for a better game in the league than Newcastle this weekend, I think, because Newcastle are just struggling so badly. They're down in 14th, 3 losses in a row. Like, I just don't see I don't see how they turn this side around. We said, like, if Leeds are still in the battle for going down, then Newcastle have to be on the periphery. So only 2 points above Leeds. Okay, I know they're 11 points clear as Spurs. So what I'm saying is kind of hyperbolic, but the fact that they're just not being spoken about really, and the fact they're 14th after finishing Champions League last year says a whole lot about them. They're not a good side, and I think Arsenal will just get over the line here.
Yeah, Fair enough. Yeah, I think they're coming in at a really bad time, Newcastle. So I think, and on your point of what would be funniest, I would love to see them lose on goals scored, because you just know Arsenal fans are going to be like, well, we had a better defense, so how come it's like
Yeah,
on goals scored? Well, that's the point of football, to try and score goals. So that's the way it works. So
their
yeah,
goal difference is the exact same at the moment.
yeah. So that would be that would be hilarious. But let's move into our final section, which is the power rankings. I'll fire ahead first. Last week I
Mhm.
had Thunder, Nuggets, Spurs, City, Brighton, and Bournemouth. We both brought Brighton in last week, which I think was good timing because they're continuing to fire on. This week, few changes. I've got the Thunder still first, just cruising in the playoffs. City move up to second because they've taken top spot in the Premier League, won a cup in the semis of another. Just probably the best team in football right now. Third then is the Nuggets. They just moved down since City move up. Really, I know they did lose one game, but I think their end to the regular season was superb. Fourth, I've got Brighton moving up because they are on fire at the moment and they deserve to be this high, in my opinion. Fifth, then I brought in the Cavs because they are 2-0. Not many other teams really dominating as much as they are in the playoffs right now. So even though it is against a weaker side, I think they deserve their due to get up to fifth. And then I put United in at sixth, because that win against Chelsea really solidifies Champions League. So I think it was massive for them. So I brought them back in at sixth ahead of Bournemouth because, yeah, Bournemouth just continued to draw a lot, which is kind of frustrating if you're a Bournemouth fan. But they could be in Brighton's position if they could have just had a few more wins. But that's my top six: Thunder, City, Nuggets, Brighton, Cavs, and United.
I'm so disappointed in you.
Why?
If you had left Bournemouth in six, it would have been the first time ever we are 1 to 6, the exact same. Because I'm Thunder City, Nuggets, Brighton, Cavs, Bournemouth are in six instead of United for me.
Man,
I
I saw
took
you
out Arsenal
smirking.
and
I was
brought in
wondering what it
Bournemouth.
was.
I honestly, I thought you were about to finish it off because you were Bournemouth last week. It's like, oh, here we go. No, so but my top five are the same as yours. Just like the exact same reasons. Well, the episode's been long enough. There's going to leave me to go over what you just said. But I just kept Bournemouth in there because they are 14 unbeaten in the league now, which I think for a team of their size is it's really some going in a league like this. That's nearly half a season. Like that's since the turn of the year, really, since they lost to Menio, they're unbeaten. We must try and get Harry back on again and actually talk to him about this because I'd say he's over the moon. This is yeah, they're a really good team. Iriola leaving, they brought in a really good replacement, I think, in Marco Rose as well. So yeah, they come in for me instead of Arsenal. I couldn't wait to get Arsenal out. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and on the Bournemouth point, they do things that like a competent team do. They have
Mm,
a succession plan in place already. When you see other
it's
teams
mad.
that you just know their manager's going and they're going to be scrambling for a guy like an Areola.
Jose
So
Mourinho.
yeah. I know Newcastle, unfortunately, if that's the way it ends up, if Areola ends up at Chelsea and they end up with Jose, I don't think too many Newcastle fans will be happy. But yeah, we'll leave it there for this week. Thanks again for tuning in. 2 episodes this week for you, so hopefully you enjoyed both of them. But we'll be back again next week with the regular Friday morning episode. So Shane, I'll throw it to you to wrap it.
Yeah, so just thanks so much again for all the support. We do appreciate all the comments on the TikToks and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm hopefully back now. Won't be out again for another couple of episodes anyway. So if you missed last week's, I wasn't there. I am back. So keep it going. Road to 100,000. Here we go. See you all next week. Welcome back to another episode of Who's Got the Ball with Shane and James.